Friends, how are you doing? It is Saturday, April 26th. Yes, the 26th. This is kind of like, let's go over again what we just went through in the market here. Obviously, it was a really good week. A really good week. It ended strong, everything, and we ended the week with some really good news. If you're curious about Big Bear, you're in Big Bear, you're stuck in Big Bear, you've made money on Big Bear, wherever you're at, and there's still possibly, I think, potentially really good news come out here with Big Bear. Now, obviously, I still think Big Bear is still a little bit of a dangerous play. Obviously, you're going to have to be here for some time, and you're going to have to go through emotions with it when you're holding it. It is still not a get out of free jail card with making millions off of it yet. It's got some stuff to prove. It's got debt. It's got problems, and there's still some stuff that we're dealing with the stock. But all in all, I definitely think that this company, this stock, is on the right path to see some bigger numbers and potentially be a nice little investment here towards the end of the year if they continue to do what they're doing. So let's talk about Big Bear and go over Palantir, what's coming here, and kind of just get our minds right here for what's coming here this week. So let's do that. So just going right into Big Bear here, obviously, Big Bear, if Big Bear just got this other contract, and essentially it's in so many words, it's another defense contract, okay? As of yet, the money part of this has not come out, and I don't know if they're going to release it, but we don't know logistic-wise money what they're getting paid for this partnership, this situation that's going on with them right now. We just don't know. But what we do know is that it's another contract on top of these other defense contracts that Big Bear has gotten. And this is why the curiosity, this is why investors are still paying attention to Big Bear 100%. I don't think there's anything mean-spirited with saying that. It is what it is. And, we're curious because Big Bear continues to get these government contracts. And this is a telltale sign that we're going to start to see compounding on these quarterlies here. Now Q1 that's coming out here in about 2 weeks, really less than that, actually. I don't know that Big Bear will have a face-melting quarterly here for this next one, this Q1 that's coming out here. I don't know if this is going to be like, oh my God, kind of quarterly. It may just be, okay, we're on the right track quarterly, where, this is definitely the biggest quarterly they've gotten in years, and it's showing that we're on the right track. What we saw in 2024, we saw an uptick in quarterlies, 100%. 2023 was a rough year for them. 2024 was a better year for them. Q1 was good, not great. Q2, a lot better. Q3, even better. Q4, a lot better. Still under that $50 million mark, that under that $50 million cap there, but we could potentially see them touching it in Q1 here, if not getting really close to it. But I do think, regardless from what we've seen with past deals to new deals, that Big Bear is on track to probably hit a $50 million quarterly here this year and potentially hit 180, 190. Maybe we could hit a $200 million revenue this year, 2025. It's still very early in the year. I think that's the main thing we need to focus on too. It's very early in the year, and Big Bear's already done so much that to where if we continue to see these deals come up here every 35, 45 days, this is why Big Bear is continuing to get attention. This is why when you see Big Bear sink down to mid $2 range here, it's following a trail right back up into $3 and almost $4. So with that, Big Bear is it's too dangerous to walk away from it. Maybe that's the best thing to say, that it's too dangerous to walk away from. Now, looking at the negative board and then looking at the positive board with Big Bear here, Big Bear is trying to hold this anywhere from $3 to high $3 range here when it's doing well. We have not seen $4 here for a moment, and it's struggled to really sustain that $4 mark even when it had it. So obviously, it likes high twos, it likes low threes, okay? Now, what I would like to see is hopefully they do release some information on this recent partnership that they've just acquired here. There's obviously money involved. They're not doing this for free. They're not doing this to help out. So if we could see some kind of numbers, what they're getting from this, that would definitely help 100%. It's 100% speculative at this point. So Big Bear's coming out with their quarterlies here next this Thursday. This Thursday they're coming out here. We've got a lot of quarterlies to deal with here this week. SoFi's coming out Tuesday. Big Bear's coming out Thursday. I've seen a lot of people comment and say that Big Bear is going to go to $10. It's going to go back to it's going to go to 15, 20. I am right here wanting to believe that, and I want to live in a fairy tale story where Big Bear runs to those prices. But I do want to bring the double-edged sword too, and I don't want to lie to people by any means. I fully believe that Big Bear could have a good day here and run to $5, $6. Absolutely. Especially if we continue to see deals, if we see some good news, if we see some really good earnings here. But Big Bear is going to have to get caught up in some hype again. It's going to have to get caught up into something huge happening. One reason why Big Bear ran to $10 here just 2 months ago was simply because there was a lot of deals happening. The market was on fire in a good way. AI stocks were just getting bought. And Big Bear was right in the push of that. And plus, Jim Cramer came out and said, hey, Big Bear is a meme stock. Don't buy it. And everyone went, okay, Jim. And they bought Big Bear. So, this is one reason why Big Bear shot up here for that split moment. Now, history obviously can repeat itself, and stocks can be creatures of habit and, follow the same path that they've already done. But, I think for a lot of us, we're wanting to see Big Bear go into, a long-term, life here where we're seeing it come out with good quarterlies, chewing down some of this debt that it has, and really capture more deals. And I think we're seeing that. I think we're starting to see more positive than we are negative with Big Bear, 100%. Because what's the main thing the company needs? The company needs revenue, and Big Bear's getting revenue. They're getting revenue. So it's not so much Q1 that I'm like, these are going to be the life-changing quarterlies. It's probably Q2, Q3 that I'm really wanting to know more about here with Big Bear, okay? Now, I think Q1 here that's coming out, I think it has the muscle to be a good quarterly, but I don't know that it has the muscle to completely change the stock in the trajectory of everything with the stock. I don't think we've seen enough for that to happen. Okay, if they had captured some kind of crazy $500 million deal split, for so many years, that would be different. But we haven't had anything that massive. So they've gotten good deals here, but nothing like that. Okay, this isn't a Palantir company. They're not getting those kind of deals right now, but we hope they will be in the next year or two. That would be what we could hope for. And so kind of switching over to Palantir, I think Palantir is in this situation where it's in a completely different situation where, this is going to be a wild moment for investors with Palantir. If you've been with Palantir maybe 3, 2, 1 year here with Palantir, maybe 6 months, if you were buying in even 6 months ago, you're probably going to have a very good week here coming up here around May 5th because they're going to release quarterlies, okay? So when they release these quarterlies, I do believe these are going to be the biggest quarterlies Palantir has ever had. I think more than likely they should flush over $1 billion. More than likely, okay? So saying that, we could see Palantir easily run back up into this 120, 115, we're pretty much there at this point, but 120, maybe more than 120s. We've been there not long ago. People are willing to pay for it. I think Palantir has plenty of momentum to move to, 130, 140, 150, very, short into the year here. Now, obviously, when I look into the future of Palantir here, what I'm trying to see, I'm not psychic by any means, but when I'm kind of thinking about how can Palantir get to $150, well, I think the road to $150 for Palantir is more achievable than maybe what people think, because let's just say that Palantir comes out with face melting quarterlies here. Maybe they come out with like 1.3, 1.4, 1.5 billion quarterly, that's going to be a very telltale sign that they are firing on more cylinders than what we thought. And plus two, they just locked in that NATO deal that hasn't even touched quarterlies yet. And we won't even see that deal touch until Q2 that's coming out here. So this has been what's happening with Palantir. If you're wondering why have I been paying so much money for Palantir? Why is Palantir so much money when, it's not even bringing in $1 billion quarterly yet? There's plenty of companies that are bringing in $1 billion quarterlies, but they're nowhere near the price of what Palantir is. Well, here let me break this down for you. First of all, when you're buying Palantir, you're buying the name, you're buying the hype, you're buying the FOMO, you're buying all of that, okay? And you're buying the expectation of what is coming with Palantir. Palantir is in the White House. Palantir is holding some of the biggest defense contracts right now. Palantir is not stopping that situation. Alex Karp is, partnering with Elon. He's with the White House. He's going to be there for a while. So it's guaranteed money that's coming here. And Palantir, is doing this thing where we've seen for the last quarterlies where they've gone from 15 to 20, 25, 30, 35. We're in the 40s now. Maybe we're in the 50s at this point. Percentage on top of the last quarterlies, to where this is why the quarterlies are growing at such a fast, beautiful rate, to where investors are going, well, if I buy it now at 110, that's going to be cheap compared to when Q2 comes out here later, in mid-year here in the summer. So this is why people don't have a problem paying $100, $110, $115, $120 for Palantir, because, by July, Palantir, God knows what other deals will come out of the woodwork by then, Palantir could easily be at $130, $140, okay? So I don't think it's so much is Palantir going to $150. I think it's just a matter of how fast can it get to $150 if we continue to see the growth pattern happen in Palantir. This is about to be a telltale sign of what's coming here for the rest of the year. If they bust over this $1 billion quarterly zone, dude, this is going to be like what Nvidia did, back here, last year in 2024, where we started the year crazy growth wise, and then we went stock split, and it kept growing, and now the dust has settled here a little bit, but this could easily go into a situation with Palantir where Palantir is just growing just at a crazy stock price. You're even seeing articles right now, and trust me, I know the price difference. I know market cap difference is totally different, but it's the feeding frenzy that I think we're going to start to see even more of here with Palantir. And Palantir's in this special place right now too, where, people aren't so much obsessed with Nvidia and AMD. They're not obsessed with these chip stocks like they were last year. There's trouble, in the air with these chip stocks right now because of all this tariff stuff. So people are looking at Palantir, and that's why they're looking at BigBear, because the price difference from what these companies, Palantir and BigBear, they have software. They're not selling you chip. They're not selling chips. They're not having to have their chips made somewhere, having shipped in. They're not worrying about that. Okay, what they offer is right. They can send it to the person. It's right there. It's data, whatever you say. And this is why we're seeing these companies grow at such a fast rate too. I do believe we're going to see a situation unfold here with Palantir 100%, to where the growth is going to be stupid. It's just going to continue to get stupid with what Palantir is about to go into. If they flush over this $1 billion quarterly, we're going to see leaps and bounds in stock price 100%, at 100%. So friends, listen, if you think that Palantir is expensive now, I think it's going to be a very curious situation to see how much more it goes. I have no doubt that we will see more out of Palantir this year. You're even seeing articles now talk about, stock splits with Palantir. We haven't even seen a stock split with Palantir yet. Imagine a year or two from now that we could be talking about stock splits with Palantir. Stock splits, is that not the craziest thing you've ever heard? It's if they continue on this pattern that they're on, sure, we can see stock splits. Why not? So, friends, listen, I wish everyone the best of luck. I really do mean that. I want to see everyone be successful in the market, especially when there's so many good plays out here. There's so many good companies to be a part of. It's so easy to turn $5 into $10, $100 into $200. It's not hard out here if you are putting your money in the right things. And what we're about to see in the next 2 weeks in the market is probably going to be very encouraging, very good. I don't think any of us knows what's coming here later in the year. It could be trouble, but right now we're gonna take the money while it's hot, while it's here. It's offering for people to find success in it, and I think people are going to find a lot of success in Palantir, Big Bear. We're still doing good there. We're rooting for Big Bear, but Big Bear still it just needs to keep producing more of what it's doing, and I think we're going to see some good things out of it. Friends, take care of yourself. I'll talk to you soon. Bye, everyone.